The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Aaron Rodgers thinks there might be a curse the Jets have to break to get back on track once and for all. We'll talk to Fireman Ed about the Jet curse and much more. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started. Man. This is the same old Jets. We have Aaron freaking Rodgers. We have Garrett Wilson. We have Brees Hall. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Quinnen Williams. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show. Here we go on a Thursday. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Reminder, for every membership gifted, it goes towards another raffle ticket for another giveaway. We need, I have to check, but somewhere between 70 or 75 for our next one. The next giveaway will include a Joe Namath photo right here that you will send. I will send to you, and you'll be able to frame. And also, we will be giving away a military-themed Sauce Gardner Jets jersey. So those are the next two items we'll be raffling away when we get about 75 more memberships. Appreciate everyone who supports the show. And right now we say hello to the great Fireman Ed, who joins us in his weekly spot on the show. Ed, man, Jets had a win, and then they do what they've done all year. Find a way to blow it late. That's been the story of the season.
That they have. That defense is – I was looking at the numbers for the defense in the last 7 weeks. Other than the Houston Texan game, just a disaster. I think they given up average about 28 points. If you take the Texan game out that Thursday night, they're giving up 30 points a game. On the other 6 games, they're averaging 30 points. You can't win in this league. You're giving up 30 points. You know, this was the defense that was the 85 Bears. They're, you know. I mean, when I seen the statistic this week, one of them mentioned on the broadcast that we were third in the league. I said, third in what? Third in what? What are we third in? What that is just ridiculous. Anyway, Jake, you knew. Now, I was actually listening on the radio. I had something I had to take care of. I was listening on the radio, and when it went to overtime, which was a disaster to start with, did you have any faith when they won the coin toss? The Dolphins won the coin toss. Did you have any faith that the Jets were going to stop them? No. And forget about the kickoff. Forget the kickoff, because it wouldn't have mattered, because they could have got the ball on the 30. All right, so that's how little faith I had in our defense. And I you know me, I'm as positive as there is. And I don't even have anything to, give back. So, I mean, first off, Clemens and Kinlaw and Reddick, they should all not be playing. Let those young kids play. You
want to hear the saddest thing, too? Yesterday, I got to sit there and listen to Jeff Ulbrich be asked about Hassan Reddick and say, oh, he's been exactly what we thought we'd be getting.
Oh, my God.
Jeff, he has a half a sack in 6 games. The Jets, the entire team, in 47 pass attempts by Tua, didn't touch him once, let alone sack him. They had 0 quarterback hits in the entire game. I mean, it's such a joke. They're 0-7 in one-possession games this year. I mean, they find ways to lose. Like, good teams find ways to win, and the Jets are so bad, they always find ways to lose. And you're right. The second you knew they were not going to get the ball to start overtime, you knew it was over. This defense hasn't gotten a big stop all year when they've had to. And even when the Jets took the lead, I never had any confidence that was going to be enough. Even when it was tied 23-23, once the Dolphins tied it, Ed, I felt like there was no way the Jets were going to win the game. You were just going to figure out, all right, how are they going to blow it this time?
Well, that's the sad part of it, when you feel that, when you have that defeatist attitude, they're nothing worse. When you have the defeatist attitude, and I've battled that my whole life. I fight against that. I'm always positive, and there's always a upside to everything in my life, the way I look at it, because there's no way you can walk around being defeatist. But when it came to that, I was defeated.
Yep.
When it came to that, I can tell you that their defensive line is a disgrace. It's a disgrace. The McDonald's is about the best. Even Quinnen Williams isn't having a year. And I love Quinnen, but I mean, it's just the balloon popped. The balloon popped before the Buffalo Bill game. They actually played with emotion that night because it was so new. But once that game was over and they lost that game, they just have gone downhill. Holy shit. It's amazing how they've gone downhill, especially the defense. We've talked about it. So got to move on, and we'll see what happens. I mean, unfortunately, we still got 4 more games to go. And, this can't get done fast enough as far as I'm concerned.
I think that's certainly well said. If you're watching live right now, hit the like button, comments, questions, super chats. It will always cut the line on the show. Adrian writes in, forget what Aaron said. G5 might request a trade. I mean, look, this is why you don't want these young players to get used to losing. I don't think Garrett's necessarily going to request a trade, but I'll tell you what, the new GM that comes in, one of the first moves I'd make is I'm extending Garrett Wilson. I'm sending the right message. This is the guy we want to be here to be part of this turnaround with the right coaching staff coming in.
No, there's no doubt about it. I mean, they got a few guys they could extend if you really want to. You want to extend Brees. There's guys, but we don't even know. We don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I'm more my fear is that Woody being involved as much as he has this year scares me that, I know there's only, like we talked about off air, there's only 32 of these jobs. Mm-hmm. I get it. But you want the top guy. And, I just question, will Vrabel come here? Like he's probably the top guy. Benny Johnson's going to go over to probably the Bears. That's where he's going. And, you kind of could figure what's going to happen. You have an idea of what's going to happen. Vrabel will have a choice of, I don't think he'd go to the Raiders. I don't see him going to the Saints. I could see him going to Jacksonville. But, I'd love to see him come here. Be great. That'd be a good start.
What do you think of Belichick, by the way, taking a job in college? His last ever game in the NFL is a loss to the Jets, Jets, at least.
Love it. I'll tell you, there's a lot to be said with that, right? When you think about it, I mean, him not getting an opportunity, that's incredible.
I think he was worried he was going to get shut out again, so that's why he jumped at the Carolina job.
Well, I think he wants to set his son up, too.
Yep.
Remember, he's 72. He's 72 years old, so there comes that age has to do with it, and he wants to set his son up. And I can't imagine him being in college. He doesn't deal with the players here. He's going to deal with them. How's he going to have any control over that? It's a free-for-all going on in college with that NIL. It's a free-for-all going on. There's no rules. No rules. None. It's going to be amazing, but good. I'm glad. I actually thought he was going to go to the Giants. That's where I thought he was going. I thought he was going to the Giants for sure. And so that's not happening. Whatever. I'm not a fan of Bill Belichick. So, whatever he does, he hates the Jets. So am I going to start talking about Bill Belichick? Who gives a rat's ass about Bill Belichick? I care less.
The one Jet impact.
Hates the Jets.
Yeah. I was thinking about this, though. And look, I could care less about Bill Belichick, whatever. But the one potential Jet impact is there was a thought was he would definitely get one of these jobs. We know he would never be the Jet coach, but that would fill one of the vacancies, and thus, maybe another candidate the Jets would want. They're now available to be hired if, in theory, that candidate didn't take a job with a different team because Belichick was fulfilling one of those vacancies. I guess we'll find out if it matters or not. But yeah, I mean, I thought Belichick and Jacksonville would have made some sense. The Giants, but we'll see. I mean, first off, the
Yeah,
Giants have to make a change, which we don't know, but it's going to be
I,
interesting. I can't think of a time where you might have both New York franchises looking for both coach and GM. Usually, one of these franchises has someone in place. We're talking about probably both franchises looking for a coach, GM, and quarterback all in the same offseason.
do you really think the Giants are going to make that move? I don't see it. I don't think Mara's going to make that move.
If they finish with the first pick in the draft, I think they're cleaning house.
You do?
I do.
I don't. I think he's going to stick to the. I think he's going to stick with those guys because they didn't have their own quarterback. So I think he's going to give them another chance to get their own, start with their guy. So we'll see how that plays out. He's got to look at who's going to go there. I mean, the first choice would probably be Vrabel, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Vrabel will probably go there, although when he looks at the rosters, if Vrabel looks at the rosters, he would pick the Jets because our roster is much, much better than their roster. I mean, their rosters doesn't have nearly the players we have. So
the question is, though, when you compare the Jets and Giants situations, I think it comes down to how does a coach coming in, GM coming in, how do they view this quarterback class coming out? Because if you're the Giants and you got the first or second pick, you can get one of these quarterbacks. Do you value that over the roster? That's the question. Because the Jets do have a better roster, but they don't have a long-term answer at quarterback currently on it.
Mm-hmm. I get it. Yeah, that always comes in. I mean, that's obviously comes into play, right? Really, what do they think? Because it's always the same thing with the quarterback class. It's not that good. As the draft gets closer, they're all spectacular. They're all great. There's 4 or 5 of them. It's the same shit every year.
Mm-hmm.
It just is. Right now it's not. As it gets closer, it is. So, that's a crapshoot. We've talked about that. That just is. You don't know what these guys are going to do when they get in this league. You come into the right. What we all have come to understand is that more than likely, if you sit the kid, you got a better shot. Letting him learn and not throwing him into the fire right away, because those statistics are pretty evident that the guy that goes in, I mean, listen, the flavor of the year last year was C.J. Stroud. How's C.J. Stroud doing right now? How's that working out? I mean, these guys, everybody crowns the next guy, and then, I mean, Jaden Daniels is coming down to earth right now. Okay? They're getting tape on these guys. They're starting to realize what they got to do, where the strong points are. It's the NFL, not for long. Not for long.
It takes time. Success is not always lateral. It's very
That
rarely the guys just come in and they're great immediately. Sam Darnold was better than Josh Allen year one. People forget that.
Yes. And, unfortunately for Sam, I mean, if there was one thing that I did say, and forget the Monday morning quarterback, all right? When it actually happened, I didn't want Sam to go because I knew he wasn't coached right with Gase. So I was hoping that Saller and Douglas would feel the same way and keep him and then trade that 2 pick and get a boatload of picks, and it didn't happen because it wasn't their guy. They didn't draft him. So it always comes down to that. It usually comes down to that. When they don't draft a guy, that's why I'm telling you with Dable and Shane, they didn't draft Daniel Jones. So, Mara may just be saying, let me give these guys a shot with, because Dable has proven he's pretty good with a quarterback, right? When he can get his own guy. I mean, so we'll see. We'll see. I don't care about them. I give a shit less. They could keep losing as far as I'm concerned. When they get to 5 decades like we have, then we'll talk about it.
I'm with you. Now, let's talk about our quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. I thought he played one of his best games as a Jet on Sunday. He had been struggling, of course, but he says he's healthy. He looked healthy, and he looked way more accurate than he did in that Seahawks game. What did you think of Aaron's performance? Has it changed your opinion at all on his potential future with the Jets?
Well, listen, I told you how I feel about Aaron Rodgers. I think the healthier he is, the better he's going to be. I think he got shellacked in the Bronco game and in the Minnesota Viking game. I think back to back, he got shellacked, and haven't been right since. He's still not accurate like we've seen him through the years. I mean, just that throw to Garrett Wilson down the sideline was off. Garrett had to go out of bounds. Garrett rolls in, a touchdown there. He's wide open.
Yep.
Wide open. So, listen, I love Aaron Rodgers. I want to see him play well the next 4 games. I told you that last week. 5 games. So, I want to see him do well. I think he's a good bridge quarterback. I know we're talking about roster and the amount of money it's going to cost and all it is. But, you got to have you got to look to the future and think about what this other regime is going to do. We'll see. That's still up in the air. I'm not sold that he's not going to be back. I'm not sold on that.
I think these 4 games play a huge role in it. I do. Because if he plays well down the stretch, there's a scenario Mike Vrabel comes in and is like, I want Aaron for a year and we're going to draft a guy behind him. I don't think it's crazy. I think it's unlikely at this point, but I don't think it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot. Who knows? Maybe Aaron won't even want to play after this disaster, right? I mean, we do have no luck. There is no luck. I mean, I know you're going to get into that. He said there's a curse or some shit, but I read a little bit. He didn't really get too much into it, but we can talk about it.
I'll play it for you. So this was Aaron yesterday being asked a question by Connor Hughes of SNY.
Do you feel like, not even so much last year that you missed, but the last few years when this team's just had the losses pile up, that even when things are going well for you guys, even when things are clicking, there's maybe this pressure that it feels like everyone's waiting for the other shoe to drop, like it's going too well, it's going to turn? And is that maybe the quote-unquote gene that you guys need to break?
Yeah, it might be. I mean, it might be something like that. Might be some sort of curse we got to snap as well. But whatever the case, this team, this organization is going to figure out how to get over the hump at some point. The culture is built by the players. There's a framework set down by the organization, by the upper-ups, by the staff, but in the end, it's the players that make it come to life. And at some point, everybody's going to have to figure out what that special sauce is to turn those games that should be wins into wins.
Now he's sounding like a Jet.
Well, when he says the upper-ups, that's telling. Look a little past that. When he says the upper-ups, he said the players have to change that. That's factual. That's just the way it is. When your play on the field determines that, right? But there's a lot going on in that building. A lot going on in that building. There's so much going on in that building. I know a little bit about it too. I'll never get into it because it doesn't pay for me to get into it. But there's plenty in that building that's not football related.
They just
all about the dollars, brother.
Look,
it's not all football.
Of course not. But the only way this changes, like this curse mantra and the narrative and all that, it's like you have to get the right leadership in charge. The GM and coach need to be on the same page. They need to be leaders. Because I look at the Detroit Lions. Everyone's talking about them being like the model franchise. They're the betting favorites right now to win the Super Bowl. The Detroit freaking Lions have the highest odds to win a championship right now. And what changed for them? Well, they hired Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. And over the next couple of years, they turned it around. Like there's really no like secret sauce to it. Like there's luck involved, sure. And the Jets have clearly been unlucky. But the Lions, I'm sure Lions fans felt like they were cursed too. The Bills went 17 years in a row without making the playoffs. It's like you have to bring in the right people. Otherwise, nothing changes.
I agree. But it does start at the top.
Right.
The difference is, and all of this stuff comes into play. I've been saying this, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. We don't have our own stadium. That's number one. Something that other teams do, like the Lions, like the Bills, like the Browns, who we're compared to, okay? And we have a media that's not in Detroit, that's not in Buffalo, that's not in Cleveland. So you can start right there with those two things as far as culture and all of that. So, but ultimately, there's going to be someone that's going to come in here that's going to be the GM and the head coach and find success and win that Lombardi, because anything short of that is a failure, right? I mean, that's the bottom line. Everybody wants to win that Lombardi, and it's not easy. So, and obviously for us, we're going on, what, 56 years? Which we're at 56 years now, I think. What are we at? 56? I think we're at 56. So,
56 years since the Lombardi, 14 seasons since the playoffs, and how about 9 seasons since even having a winning record?
How about 22 seasons since a home playoff game?
Yep.
That's the biggest factor. That one blows my mind. We haven't had a home playoff game in 22 years, over 2 decades. What the fuck are we doing? Like, that is insane. And we're going away from the only thing that we really have to hold our hat on is the Jet chant, and we're not even doing extending that. It's getting less and less. What a joke. That's what I'm talking about. And forget me. I'm talking about think about what you're talking about. The priority. All right? They're too concerned with who's going to be the next sponsor of the next thing that they're putting on the scoreboard. Okay? I mean, we are so, wow. Come on, man. Just look at it. Look at what's going on. Look at what's going on. We're fed up. Everybody's fed up. The season ticket holders are deserting in mass numbers. In mass numbers. You just said on this show that you don't know a season ticket holder that has renewed.
Nope.
Okay? I know a few, but I have one of my buddies had 8. He's down to 3. He went to 3. Another guy had 6, down to 2.
I was with someone at an Islander game on Saturday who has 9 tickets, Ed, and he's going from 9 to probably 2. You know,
That's what I'm saying.
They don't see the value in it. And can you blame anyone? Because think about it. You look at, the secondary market for these tickets. I mean, every time you get to late November and the month of December, whatever you paid face value, you can get into the building for 80% less of whatever your ticket is. Why have season tickets? It's a joke.
It's not just that. Look, the game day experience. Come on. I mean, anybody that goes to another state that has season tickets, not one game, goes to majority of the games and goes to other cities and goes to where football is number 1. See the difference? Because it's evident. It's so evident. And, that's been the, you got to be quiet. I'm done being quiet, bro. I'm done with that. We need to win. We need to win. And, the fans deserve that. The fans deserve a winner. We haven't been in the playoffs. This is 14 years now. We haven't had a home playoff game in 22 years. And you want these kids that are growing up Jet fans to understand anything. I mean, you got guys that are in their 20s here, namely you. What are you, 29, 30? What are you?
Yeah.
Huh?
29, yeah.
You're 29. So you were 7. Do you even remember the home playoff game? Were you there?
Vaguely. No, I was not there. The first season I truly remember is like 04. Doug
Bryan
was
what I'm
my
saying
welcome.
is, think about it. What you're talking about. This is the era of you guys.
I know. Ed, I had a caller yesterday who I think he was 14 years old. 14. He doesn't remember anything. He doesn't I grew up and the Jets were going to the playoffs all the time. 04, 06, 09, 10. I mean, from 2000 to 2016, they never had back-to-back losing seasons. They weren't the Patriots. They didn't win the division title other than 02, but they weren't a joke. We're talking about a kid now who's 14 or 15 years old, they don't know what a winning season even looks like. They might be too young to remember the Fitzpatrick year 9 years ago. Like that's how pathetic this franchise has been.
Your era is really, I feel, for because, like, listen, 98 to 2010 was the most success.
Right, and I have most of that. But anyone after that, you don't know anything. You don't know what winning is like.
And I've always been positive. I mean, I think it's time to really. The Jet organization needs to be called out. I mean, they just do. It's at that point now where it's really and I think what really got to me was last year when they asked the fans to pay for season tickets in November of the year prior to the following season. What are you doing? Like, what are you doing to your fan base? You want to discuss this fan base. You are doing everything in your power to do that.
All right.
What are you doing? I understand it's a business because I've heard them talk. We are a business. Listen, you're doing just fine. You're doing just fine. The NFL's doing just fine. Come on, man. You got to give something back to the fans. One of my buddies says, what about having a night where all the fans are there and they bring all the players out and, give to the fan base, have a party and give the food and drinks out and let them mingle with the players. Like, there's none of that. None of that. Come on. You got it. The best they do is they trot out in Wall Street, right at what's the place down in Wall Street?
Cipriani's, right?
Cipriani's. They have the luncheon.
That's where my high school prom was. Shout out to the Syosset High School prom at Cipriani's.
They have Cipriani's, but they have all the big money people are there. All right, it's just this organization could be run a lot better, and it should be, and they should really have the pulse of the fans. And it's sad because just sad. I love them so much, and I know the fan base loves the green and white, and when you're not getting love back, man, it's very, very tough to handle. You an angry guy, but there comes a point where enough is enough. Enough is enough. It's 14 years.
It's a joke.
Without a playoff. Without getting in the playoffs. 22 years without having a home playoff game.
And they haven't had.
What are we doing?
They haven't had a winning season in almost a decade now. Think about that. By accident, you could have a winning season. By accident, there's 7 teams that make the playoffs. I mean, I can think of so many examples of teams over the last couple of years. You and I were talking off air about those Brian Flores Dolphins teams. They were 9-8 and 10-6. I think one of those years, 10-6, they lost out on tiebreakers to make the playoffs. Like that happens all the time in the NFL, and the Jets can't even sniff that. The most amount of wins they had under Joe Douglas was 7, 3 times. That was it.
I don't know. Once again, I think the passion has to be 24/7, 365. I keep reiterating that, but it's just the truth. It just is. If you want to be successful in this life, you have to put all in all the time.
Mm-hmm.
There's no days off. There's no days off. You heard Belichick when he said no days off. There's no days off. I mean, I can't stand Clem face, chow to head. I'm glad he's going to North Carolina, but he was right. There's no days off. Not when you want to win. So we're gonna see where this goes. I mean, really, this organization is. I mean, I would say right now, this organization is at its lowest point. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would.
I mean, I would say this is the lowest I've seen, and we've had a lot of bad years. But this is the lowest point. And the funny thing is that not when it comes to the roster. We've had bad rosters. This roster is a good roster. There's a lot of good players on this team. A lot of good players on both ends of the ball. Start right there with the offensive line. The offensive line got 4 guys coming back. Okay? And you got 3 young bloods on there. So, there's, for a coach and a GM, it's not like they're just completely starting over, because they're not. They're not starting over. So.
Belichick said no days off. Woody Johnson says this.
Thinking is overrated.
And that's the problem. So is winning, apparently. Winning is overrated, too, for this franchise.
Hey, listen, like I told you with Woody, I think Woody wants to win. He listens to too many people that aren't football guys. That's my opinion. What I could see, it's not happening. He's listening to – there's too many other things going on. Listen, everybody's got to make money, and I understand this business. It's a business. You got to make money, but there's a passion and a desire to win a world championship. And I just feel like that is not being conveyed enough in one Forum Park. I just don't believe that is the number one thing that is on that board. When they look at their agenda, it should be the Lombardi Trophy and everything after that. Everything after that. And I don't feel that that's the way it is in One Jets Drive. And it's got to change. So we're going to find out if it does. You can only do so much, right? We go there as fans. We go to the games and we try to root for our team and give them as much home field as we can. But, you can only go so much.
Ultimately, and I've said this for a while now, and you embody this, Ed, for your loyalty and passion for the franchise. The organization doesn't deserve how great the fan base is. Like, like in other towns, there are football fans out there who completely lack the passion that the Jet fan has, and they don't deserve the success that they have. Meanwhile, the Jets, as we outlined, haven't sniffed any sort of success in forever, and this fan base is as fired up and as passionate as ever. And we're talking about a 3-10 team that had expectations with the bare minimum go to the playoffs and be playing deep into January this year.
And we're sharing a stadium with another team that's won 4 Super Bowls and went to 5 while we were there. Think about that. Think about what you're talking about. This fan base, what it's endured through the years. They need a goddamn medal is what they need. All right? This fan base needs a medal because they deserve it. Fan base has been ridiculed, laughed at, just the butt of jokes, literally. And, it's extremely frustrating. And I'm about as frustrated as I've ever been with this organization. I can just tell you that, because I'm looking and just going, what are we doing? We are driving our nucleus, the diehards from the building. We're literally driving the diehard Jet fan from the building. What are you doing? Don't you see what you're doing? What are you doing? Like, it's incredible to me. And it's like clueless. Is it really that it's all this? Because that's what it seems like. Am I right or am I wrong? Am I talking nonsense, Jake?
No, it's true. I mean, I've said this now for weeks on the show. This season in particular, and really the last 2 years because of what happened 4 plays in a year ago, it's done irreparable damage to the fan base. Because it's like, if you're not going to win now with this roster, with everything set up to, at the bare minimum, end the longest playoff drought in professional sports, when's it going to happen? You have any faith they're going to hire the right coach and GM and get this right? Like, we're putting blind faith in an owner who has given you no reason to trust him. You just got to hope it works, but that's it. It's only hope. You have no confidence.
That's what I'm talking about. I mean, what you said was, I mean, look at these young guys, this core of young guys, what you're doing to them.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's so essential. And hopefully you get a established coach in here that's won in this league, because they need to see that. They need to see it, because those guys will have stories. Those guys have been to the mountain. They know what it is. I'm telling you, it's so essential. Having a first-time coach is gonna, really, it's gonna wear out their fan base. I think, gonna wear out the fan base, make it worse. You need a guy that's won in this league, man. You get if ever I could beg the organization, if ever I could beg you, get a established guy in here. He has to have a pedigree. He's got to be able to deal with this miserable media. They're so bad, so bad. Just telling you, it needs to happen. You need to do it for the good of the young core of guys that we have, because we have a wonderful young core of guys that are just so hungry to win. They want to win. Sauce and Brees and Garrett and Jermaine and Quincy and Quinnen, and you could go Jermaine Sherwood. You got to sign him. Michael Carter. I mean, you got guys. You got such young guys. Olu. Go on AVT. Joe Tipman. The rookie running backs. Isaiah and Braylon. I mean, you go on and on. There's a lot of good young players that are they want to win. You got to prove to them. You got to get somebody in here that knows that's won in this league. I'm telling you, you don't drop the ball here. This is essential. Honestly, this thing could go on for 20 years.
It's a joke. It's a joke. There's no other way around it. Now, you bring up an established coach. I'm right there with you. Mike Vrabel's at the top of my list. Brian Flores is right there. I know you're a Gruden guy. I like Gruden. I'd put Rex in that conversation as well. I mean, is there any first-time coach that would excite you? Would Aaron Glenn move the needle for you? Ben Johnson, the Lions offensive coordinator?
No, and no. I do not want a first-time coach in here. And I know there's been times where there's success. I don't think because of the situation we're at, there's a difference. There's a time and a place when maybe I would think differently. Not right now. Not with this. Not with what's gone on in 14 years. Not what's gone on. Not what we have with these kids that we drafted. They need a established presence in that locker room that has won. That's the head coach. We have Aaron, but the head coach needs to be in here and have discipline and be able to, have that, like I said, the pedigree for the media. Because the media is vicious. They play that little game. All right? You see all these questions, and then it leads to something else. And then they forget about it, and then a couple weeks later they'll refer back to what they said about something else to set you up. I mean, come on, man. I watched this shit going on for years. This is nothing new. Told you, outhouse. Build a facility. That's where you go. Not football operations. No way. Not in football operations. Should be all about the football team. That's it. That's the way it should be. You have an obligation to the media because they have a job to do. And there's nothing, and that's fine. But there's a way to do it.
Ed, before we wrap, tell the people about Fireman Ed Lager, baby.
The Fireman Ed Lager. John Monhay, my guy. The Monhay family from Norfolk, Virginia. Come on. Find it in your heart. The QR code. Few dollars, for the holidays. I know it's not easy, but if you can find it in your heart, John's battling, man. He had that tragic accident, and he's paralyzed, and he's trying to walk again. He's a huge Jet fan. He loves the green and white, man.
Great guy.
Comes up a couple times a year from Norfolk, Virginia, with his family.
I met him at the home opener with you.
Yep, his father's a Air Force veteran, military family, tremendous. I can't say enough about the family. They're great people, and we're trying to raise money. I thought this thing would really take off, but the Jets, oh boy. Anyway, find it in your heart, and salute to John and his family. And by the way, Mark Gastineau deserves being in the Hall of Fame. Forget about Mark Gastineau, when he quit the Jets, and I'm talking about his career. His career. Look at his career, and look at the numbers, and listen, Mark was a great player. You're a young guy. I was around for Mark. All right. Mark was a great player. The guys that are in that Hall of Fame, he should have been in long before a lot of those guys. You start going down a list and you go, what? Just go down a list. Well, you're young, but I'm just telling you, guys know, right? Forget about, personality, this, that, the off the field. That's all bullshit. It's what you do on the field that matters. It's what you do on the field. Nothing else should matter. That's all bullshit. Personality doesn't come into play.
I do think the documentary will help him. I do. We're talking about a guy who had 92 and a half sacks over a 6-year period. That's Hall of Fame worthy right there.
Oh, hell yeah. And Brett Favre said the right things. I loved his statement, what he said. Kudos to Brett. Even though I said he should have tackled him when he seen him.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, listen, it is what it is. But it's good banter. But listen, Brett said the right thing about Mark.
Did you meet Brett when he was here in 08?
Yeah, I met him a little bit, somewhat. He's good. I love Brett. Brett Favre. What's not to love about Brett Favre? He played the game the right way. Beast. Played at the quarterback position, and he was a beast. He's not as big as Josh Allen, but he played just very similar to Josh Allen. Both had guns, just take hits. He took so many hits. Favre, forget it. He was a beast. Favre was that. Once again, we got screwed there too. He hurt his arm. He was on a roll. He was on a roll that year.
Yeah, they were 8-3. They were
and he hurt his arm. Unbelievable. But he did a nice job for Mark Gastineau. And the more guys that push, Gastineau should be in the Hall of Fame. Joe Benigno always pushes that. Joe's a big believer, and so am I, because we're old school. We're old school. We remember Gastineau. Gastineau. It's a travesty that Gastineau's not in there alongside Klecko. He should be in there. There's no doubt. He was Jake, listen to me. He was an impact player. He was a man. All of them doing their dances, and now, back then, that was,
right.
They hated him. He was a pioneer when it came to that. Okay? And the fans loved it. The fans loved it when he would go nuts. It was your guy. So, we had Gastineau's gang of College Point. We used to have a banner because I lived in College Point, Queens. And there was a banner, Gastineau's gang of College Point.
Yeah.
Shout out to my boys from College Point, home of champions. And I got a little shout out today with the L9 crew. That's my guys in the parking lot. My guys in the parking lot. Love them. Great tailgate. Anyway, we see you. Come over.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, listen, we'll see what happens this week down in Jacksonville.
Might be the last one we get, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll find out. This season can't end quick enough. I'll tell you that.
That's right. Ed, you're the best. Happy holidays. I know you're spending some time with your grandkids tomorrow, so appreciate you hopping on a day early. Enjoy the family time, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, brother. All the best.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great
Go Jets.
Fireman Ed in his weekly spot on the show. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We're presented today by Huga House. Get a Huga House hat discounted right now with promo code ASMAN at checkout. Get the hat I'm always rocking. Rodgers is always rocking. Plenty of athletes, entertainers, celebrities. They have a bunch of brand new hats. They also have winter hats, some beanies that are available right now. HUEGA house.com. Promo code ASMAN at checkout, and you will get 15% off. Once again, shout out to Huga House for being our sponsor. Thanks to Ed, of course, for coming on the show. As always, the Jets are going to win a game. This feels like the game that they're most likely to win. Now, for those who missed the announcement earlier, our next raffle prizes include the Joe Namath fur coat photo and the Sauce Gardner military-themed jersey. Those are the next two giveaways. We'll do both those giveaways as part of our next one. For every membership gifted, you get yourself a raffle ticket with your name on it. Every $20 super chat is worth $5 in raffle tickets as well. So there's two ways to enter: $20 or more super chat, or just gifting a membership. That is the best way to do it. If you won a prize, it's already been sent out or ordered online. So be alert. It's on its way. I went to the UPS store this morning and sent out the jersey to Ryed and sent out another jersey to Felix Campos. So be on the lookout if you're Ryed or Felix listening. Bo with a super chat. We are New York. New York strong. Makes no sense that we're the best city in the world and can't figure this thing out. Enough already. New York for life. I mean, it's a joke. It's a joke. Fiore writes in with a $10 super chat. All you have to do is listen to Brick yesterday to understand how bad our leadership is. No accountability in the locker room. Players need a leader of men. Rabel or Gruden, no first-time coach. I completely agree with this. I mean, listening to Jeff Ulbrich yesterday try and talk up Hassan Reddick. Like, it hasn't been an abject disaster since he's been here, is an embarrassment. I mean, Ulbrich said yesterday that Reddick has been everything they thought they were getting with him. Everything that they have, quote, seen on tape that made us pursue him as hard as we did has showed up. He has a half a sack and one quarterback hit, coach, in 6 games. And then Ulbrich tried to justify the lack of production because the Jets have not been playing with a lot of leads. That is such bullshit by this coach who cannot leave soon enough. Hassan Reddick is supposed to be a player that whether you have a lead or you're trailing can change a game, right? He wanted to be paid like one of the top sack artists in the league. That was the type of money he wanted. He wanted Danielle Hunter money. So he needs a lead in order to be effective? Bullshit. This organization is a joke for comments like that. This coaching staff needs to be fumigated. The front office, they all got to go. That loser mentality, the just let's explain away our players being dog crap, is why this team has missed the playoffs since 2010 every year. Hassan Reddick's been what we thought he was supposed to be. What a joke. I'm not saying you got to rip him publicly if you're Jeff Ulbrich, but have a spine, dude. Say we all got to do better. It's been disappointing. He hasn't had more production, but it's on all of us. That's all you got to say. He's been everything we thought we were getting. Coach, this is a guy who's supposed to have double-digit sacks and change games with forced fumbles and forced turnovers. He's done none of that. He has a half a sack in 6 games. He held out, created a distraction for no reason, and then when they lost Jermaine Johnson, it was really emphasized how this general manager completely destroyed this defensive line. And he's been everything we thought. Okay. It's horse shit. That's what that is. That quote exemplifies the loser mentality, the loser gene that Garrett Wilson was talking about. That quote from this intern head coach who will never be a head coach again, ever. nor should he. And I don't want to kill Obrick, but it just exemplifies how big of a miss it was firing Saleh just 5 games in, and this just loser mentality that's all over this coaching staff. Hassan Reddick's been everything we thought we were getting. Okay. It's one of the worst moves in Jet history in my mind. Clown show. Kyle Clifton, $10 super chat. Thank you, Kyle. We're taking the kids to the Giants on Sunday. Wife has season tickets. Wow, your wife has season tickets to the Giants, Kyle? How does that work? Son doesn't want to go, loyal to the Jets, but kids need to decide fandom. I've traveled to U.S. to road games, but I in college football game next year need a break. I get it. How does that dynamic work in your family? Your wife goes to every Giant game every week, and you just watch the Jets? I mean, I can't say you're missing much if you don't want to watch Jets-Jaguars. Unfortunately, I will be watching every snap of that game, talking about it on ESPN New York from 4 to 5:30, and then talking about it for another 2 hours on the Jake Asman YouTube channel from around 5:30 to probably at least 7:30. Yeah, the Jets are driving me insane. But don't worry, Hassan Reddick's been everything we thought. What a joke. I'll tell you what's not a joke. The best listeners in sports. Let's start with Bo. He just gifted a 5-spot of channel memberships.
I can't even believe it. I can't even believe it.
Believe it, John Heyman. 5 spots right now. David, the Break Studio. Who have they played? BC, Joshua Burns. All receiving memberships. Bo, you're in for 5 more raffle tickets. Congrats to you. Ladies and gentlemen, King Lowski in the house. I was just playing his Jet chant. Lowski in for 5 memberships.
Show me the money. Show me the money! Money.
If you hear your name called, these are from the King, baby. The great King Lowski. Lucky Leo. Lucky Anthony Leo, as I like to call him. Jesus Jerry Vaca. Scott Foster. Purple Belt Mike. J Quest 57. Wow. How about Purple Belt Mike finally getting a membership? How about it? How about J Quest getting a membership? Remember J Quest went like 6 decades without getting one? And then Lowski's like, watch this. That's awesome. 10 raffle tickets just like that. Thank you, gentlemen. Captain Swanson writes in. It's probably dumb. I haven't read it. Here we go. Not having a lead does affect things. It's not Xbox. If you're going to sit here and try and justify Hassan Reddick's play, I don't have patience for you. We will see you later.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
He has a half a sack in 6 games. This guy was supposed to have double-digit sacks this year. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Hassan Reddick has been one of the biggest blunders in recent Jet history. You know, it's not quite drafting Zach Wilson or Mekhi Becton or not bringing in a credible backup last year after Rodgers was done 4 games in. But that move just is so representative of this disaster of a season. Having a lead, and that's why okay. You want to be paid like one of the top pass rushers in the league, Hassan. That's what you wanted. How about you do something? It's so funny. Hassan Reddick is now probably looking at a 1-year deal for like $6 or $7 million this offseason. And if you add up the money that he lost and what he's currently playing for the Jets, because he's not going to reach any of the incentives they put in his deal. He's not going to come close to any of it. He's basically going to be playing to break even over what he would have made if he just took the initial 1-year, $14.5 million deal he was currently on. Or if you remember, the Jets at one point offered 1 year and basically $20 million, and he turned that down. So he's basically now going to play next year, assuming he gets what I'm projecting, a 1-year, $6 to $7 million deal. He's basically going to be playing just to break even on what he would have made in 1 year at the Jets. Moron. He's so stupid his own representation fired him. You talk about one of the biggest dummies of all time, Hassan Reddick. Jesus Jerry says, you have history versus the Jags. Pneumonia plus anger. I do. I do. I mean, Hassan Reddick's not their only problem, but it just exemplifies. Mr. Flower says, what size is the Sauce jersey? It's a large. Sauce jersey's a large. Now, they run a little big, but keep that in mind. Ladies and gentlemen, Chef Kevin in the house. $20 super chat. That's 5 raffle tickets right there for our guy, Chef Kevin, baby. Now, give me money. Or I shoot him. And I shoot all you motherfuckers. And then we take it. Your choice, bitches. Please add a couple of raffle tickets for me. Thank you for the great shows and getting us Jet fans to the rest of this horrible season. Much respect, J.A. Kevin, you're the best, dude. At some point, I'm coming out to the Cloverleaf Cafe, man. I can't wait for that day. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get to your calls right now. On the Gusbuster hotline, first up is Jason in Jerusalem. What's up, Jason?
So they've blown leads in the fourth quarter, but they don't have any leads, so Reddick can't play to his peak. Do I understand that correctly?
Yeah, you make a great point. How is it that the Jets have blown all these leads in the fourth quarter, but Jeff Ulbricht's trying to say, well, Reddick's numbers aren't what they would normally be because they haven't had leads. Okay, I'll play along, Jeff.
I think he's going from the Denny Green playbook of, the Bears, they are who we thought they are who they thought we thought they were. That's actually what Jeff Ulbricht means here when he says he is who we thought, what we expected. The Denny Green line.
I know it's comical, man. I mean, it's just all you could do is just laugh at it.
Well, this is what happens. We have an interim coach who wasn't trained in how to deal with the media, and who's frankly checked out on it. I mean, this Jets-Jags game almost reminds me of the Ron Middleton game in terms of the excitement I have going into it.
He's afraid to be critical of anyone, and it's just sad.
That's unfortunately, we need somebody who has a spine.
Exactly.
And Saleh didn't have a spine. I mean, but he connected with his players, and Ulbricht is worse. And that's why I wanted Vrabel or Flores to come in here and lay down the law.
Amen.
But when you talk about, ownership, just look at Washington. There's a way that, certain owners meddle to the point that even good coaches just fail there. Other than Joe Gibbs, what did Daniel Snyder do there? And look who he had on his staff there. Didn't he have Shanahan and McVay and O'Connell all on that staff, and they did absolutely nothing?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about the 2013 Redskins. They had all those future head coaches on it. Yep.
It starts with the leadership, and somehow Rex was able to do it with Woody. I don't know if somehow Woody's changed over time because listen, we had did a decent job.
Herm did it. They went to the playoffs 3 times. Mangini went to the playoffs in 06. Look, I know everyone wants to blame Woody, and he's not a good owner, but these were the same conversations about James Dolan with the Knicks, and then the Knicks hired the right people and have turned it around. Like it really is. It's just going to come down to can they get these 2 hires right at GM and coach?
Absolutely. And I hope they don't fall into the same problem they had last, one of the previous time when they hired Bowles. You hire a GM, you wait to hire the head coach. You don't fear that, oh no, somebody else is going to get our head coach, or we're not going to get good OCs and DCs if we wait for a Dan Quinn to finish at the Super Bowl, like that happened while we went for Bowles. You have to just wait for your guy. And if the Vikings are going deep in, or the Lions are going deep in, and you want somebody in their staff, you wait for them and you don't panic. And this team is always full of panic because, as we see, Woody is controlled by the media. That he wants to control the narrative, and sometimes you need to take the shots and just know that deep down you're playing the long game. We as fans are impatient. We want answers right away, and Woody feels the heat that we give him.
Yeah, I mean, look, he clearly listened to the fans with the Saleh decision. There's no doubt. But you could also say if he listened to the fans, he would have fired Saleh at the end of last year. That was the mistake. He listened to the fans.
After the first year.
But the fans wanted a lot, not all of them, but the fans wanted Saleh and Douglas gone after last year.
Right.
And that was the mistake.
I think he knew that he'd lose Rodgers, and he didn't want to do that.
That was part of it for sure. Rodgers came out and gave them a vote of confidence publicly, and he probably was like, Rodgers getting hurt, it's no one's fault, but it really screwed everything.
Right. If I could ask you a bit off the point, what are your thoughts about John Heyman and the FAN interview?
I
Being
mean,
that you're a radio guy.
I thought it was. I thought it was hilarious. You know, I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, I think it's one of the most insane moments I've heard on a sports radio station in quite some time.
Yeah.
I thought Keith was out of line.
Okay.
I don't think you treat a guest that way. You know, the problem was if you make one comment, fine, but then he hit him with the Boris stuff and he hit him with the arson judge stuff. Like, you could do one, you can't do both. I thought he took it too far personally. I would never treat a guest that way on my show.
I think the only person who treated a guest worse was Jim Rohn with was it Chris Everett?
Chris Everett, yep.
Oh
right.
my.
Yeah.
All right. Keep up the great work, Jake. Love listening to you across the land.
Jason, you're the best. Stay safe, my friend. Appreciate it.
I can't even believe it.
Thank you,
I can't
John.
even believe it.
I mean, did Heyman overreact? Probably. But, I mean, that's an all-time moment. If you're a guest on a show, you're not expecting to get sandbagged that way. So part of me understands it, but doesn't mean I will not use it as a drop on this show. Ladies and gentlemen, Purple Belt Mike, who despises the Jets, for some reason says, add me to the sauce jersey. Just end the suffering. 5 memberships in Purple Belt Mike's name. Actually, not memberships. 5 raffle tickets, though, in Purple Belt Mike's name.
Oh, nice.
Hell yeah. I got you, Mike. You're in for 5. Thank you, sir. All $20 super chats, 5 raffles. 5 raffle tickets. I know people want a gift, but they can't do it from the phone, so that's why we added the super chat option. I did think this is pretty cool, right? A military-themed sauce. You know, I'm trying to come up with different things here, so we'll do it all month long. If anyone has giveaway ideas, let me know. Or you have something you want to donate to use for a giveaway, you let me know. I'm going to bring on a caller right now that this audience knows very well because I have quite the surprise for him that I want to share with him on the show.
Hi, everybody. This is Bob from Vermont. I am Bob, of course.
Hello, Bobby.
How you doing?
Bobby, who would you say your favorite player on the Jets is?
Favorite player on the Jets is? Oh, Braylon Allen.
Braylon Allen.
Braylon Allen.
Number 0, right?
Yep.
Had a pretty good game last Sunday, right?
Yep, much better than Breece Hall. Well, Breece Hall was out, too.
Correct. Now, do you remember yesterday when Felix Campos won the jersey?
Yeah.
It was a Braylon Allen jersey. You remember that?
Yep.
Well, I spoke with Felix this morning, and he wanted to donate the jersey to a listener of my choice.
Right.
So I, this morning, sent the Braylon Allen jersey and some magnets and stickers and a bunch of other Asmaniac items to your apartment in Vermont.
Oh, thank you, Jake. I got some of them the other day when you were with Nate. Nate gave me some.
Well, you have even more stuff on the way. Yeah. You could thank Felix for the jersey.
Thank you, Felix the cat. I love that cartoon too.
So now you could wear your Jet hats that we sent you, and you could wear the Braylon Allen jersey because we know he's your favorite player.
Yeah, I like him very much.
I know you do. Now you can wear it. You might have to lose a little weight though to fit into the jersey. I think it's an XL.
Oh, I know. You had to see the one that what's Tom Ace brought me. I can't fit in those yet.
Well, you will. I mean, you're on your way to losing weight.
Oh yes, with the treadmill. When I get the walking pad.
That's right.
Watch your show, do it, and all that. Do you see what I wrote in private chat to Ed? I wasn't surprised you did comment on it.
I didn't see it. I
said, hi, Ed. With all the tears about this, could put out fire yourself.
I see.
I thought he was going to comment on it. I didn't know.
I see.
You just have to get so upset about it. Oh, big deal. Oh, I'm not on the Jumbotron. Big deal.
It kind of is a big deal if the guy who's been on the Jumbotron for 35 years is not on the Jumbotron.
Well, you don't get everything you want, right? That's what it says.
Why are you going after Fireman Ed?
I just wanted to make a joke with him.
Yeah, but guess what? It's not funny.
I thought he was going to comment.
Nobody laughed.
I thought they got to comment back to me.
Just remember, next time you try to blackmail me, I sent you a jersey. I just want you to remember that.
No, I'm not going to.
And it's an authentic jersey, too.
I made a mistake.
All right.
I know. I'm very sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And the Knicks win yesterday? No, I don't.
No, they lost.
to Atlanta. Ugh.
I know.
Allen is in his prime now.
They blew the lead. They played like crap.
I know. What is going on with them? What is? I gotta ask you a question. What is this thing? I don't get into it, but what is this thing? Why did they play so early for the cup? I don't understand.
It's they do it for international soccer. It's like an in-season tournament. Nobody in the U.S. cares about it.
I know it doesn't make sense. They go all the way to like June. Don't they have to play for the championship? It
doesn't.
Does these games count against the record? What?
Yeah, it counts for your regular season record, which is why I still care about the result of the game. But I don't care about the
result. Yeah, because of the okay. I didn't know. Okay, so I'll be on your show at 4:00 if you have one at 4, 3:30, whenever.
Bobby, we will see you later. Enjoy the Braylon Allen jersey.
Yeah, thank you, Felix. I love you. You be a good guy.
Oh no!
Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. Reminder, this show's available in podcast form, wherever you get your podcast. Apple, Spotify, just search Jake Asman Show and subscribe there, and you'll get the YouTube show you're watching live right now in audio form. Ladies and gentlemen, let's say hello to the Hamburger. He's next. What's up, Hamburger?
Morning. How we doing?
I'm good, Hamburger. How are you?
Hanging in there. Watching you explain what you have to do on Sunday at ESPN and then come on after this, after watching the Jets game, the pain in your face was real. I could see it was real.
It sucks, man. And like when I agreed to do these like Sunday shows for ESPN this fall, I was like, that's awesome. Could be on after the games. Yeah. Didn't think I'd be talking about a 3-10 team. It's brutal.
It is. It's bad. I want to touch a little bit on what Fireman Ed is saying about, the fan engagement and things like that. I do notice that. I remember back taking to one of my older sons to the game and having the players and Woody and cheerleaders walk down that main path going over by, I think it's parking lot C, where they used to walk down, and you had Woody there. You had some players, maybe some players that weren't playing that day will come out and shake everybody's hand, that kind of engagement. And, for us, I think for Woody, it's been kind of like a TV series for him for the last 2 years. I mean, it made him a lot of money. We have one Jets Drive. It's all this hype and all this stuff and all the Aaron Rodgers. And then this year, maybe it wasn't as big as last year, but still, he's making money on all the publicity, and all the news that's surrounding the Jets. And then it collapsed epically on him. I mean, there's nothing else you can say. I mean, everything just collapsed on him epically. And yeah, I had put out a tweet last year to get rid of Sal and the coaching staff. And then when Aaron came out and said, that he'd want him back, it's kind of like we all sat back and we're like, all right, screw it. We have to do this one more time. Like, he ain't going nowhere, so we have to accept it.
And also to defend Salah a little bit, the defense was elite. The special teams was elite. They didn't quit on them. They won 3 of their final 5. They did win 7 games.
Yeah.
But we didn't know Woody would then fire Salah just 5 games into the following year. Obviously, if we knew that, we'd be like, well, just fire the guy now. If he's only going to get 5 games next year, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, correct. I had no idea they were going to get rid of him so quick this year. And that's why I didn't mind so much that he was coming back. Okay, we're going to run it back with Aaron. Let's see what we have. And then after the 5th game, I was surprised, like we all were. Like, it was kind of like we kind of got hit from behind. And Brick is he a bad coach? He is so bad. I mean, I don't even think he was probably a great defensive coach. I think Salah might have ran the defense the whole time, because the defense is legitimately fallen apart since Salah has been gone. So, I mean, we were inept on offense regardless. I think changing the play caller would have helped. Maybe we would have squeezed out another win or 2. Still would have had a shitty season. We still wouldn't have went anywhere. We would have all been miserable anyway. So, I don't know, man. It's just
I think the difference in record with Ulbrich and Salah is the Jets probably finished 4-13 with Ulbrich this year, because I think they win this week. And then with Salah, they're probably 7-10 again, or 8-9. Yeah, I think this season was doomed with his coaching staff, no matter what. It was exemplar, or it was, what's the word I'm working for? It was accelerated with the dismissal of Salah, but they weren't going anywhere with him as the head coach either way.
I know. I would agree with that, but I think with the defense, and regardless of the coaching too, they are not as good as they were last year. I think we would have suffered a lot of the same losses because of the defense and because of the defensive line and how we can't get penetration and how they run the ball all over us. And just come out and say Reddick is doing everything. It is like comical, man. I don't even know who he is in the game. He does nothing. He's usually stood up getting blown back somewhere, and you don't even see his number on his jersey because he's turned out. It's just he's useless. He's absolutely useless. And really everybody but McDonald and Williams are the only two people on the line that I care anything about. Everybody else can go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's nothing. I mean, you get Jermaine back next year. You have Will McDonald. You have Quinnen, and the rest of the defensive line needs to be rebuilt.
Yep. But listen, I'm gonna run in. I gotta go get some acupuncture for my shoulder. So that should be fun. I love that. But you guys enjoy it and have a great day. And thanks, Jake. I appreciate all you do, man.
Hamburger, you're the best. Appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, some housekeeping to attend to. A comment here from John O'Reilly. This season was destined for failure when Aaron skipped mandatory OTAs to go to Egypt. Ladies and gentlemen, we will see you later, John. Enjoy the realm.
Into the shadow realm you go.
Aaron Rodgers being voted the most inspirational Jet by his teammates is legit one of the saddest things I've ever heard.
Jets have a lot of issues this year. I could promise you Rodgers missing 2 padless practices in June has nothing to do with it. Let's stop. I mean, give me a break. This team was 2-1. Did Aaron Rodgers missing minicamp matter then? And the way that story was covered was such shameless by the people in my business. He missed a week of minicamp. He missed 2 days. There was 3, and if it was so important, why did Salah cancel one of the days and make it only 2? He was at 12 of the 14 OTAs. The 2 he missed were the quote-unquote mandatory ones. So by the logic that the media had, he should have went to only 2 of the mandatory ones and then didn't go to any of the voluntary ones, right? That makes sense. Give me a break. Chef Kevin wrote, I'm done with being suckered into buying season tickets. There's no incentives. No, you just get losing. Tom Ace writes in, Jake brought 2 lovely ladies to the prom. Only one. Charles Gorman probably brought 2 lovely ladies to his prom. Shout out to Diana. Prom date at Cipriani's on Wall Street. Jesus Jerry writes in, Neil's comment, we need fatties. Do you agree? I think the Jets need to beef up their D-line for sure, yeah. I don't know if I would describe it as fatties, as Neil would, but I do get his point. Comments, questions, super chats. They cut the line. We're seeking more raffle tickets. Every membership gifted is a ticket with your name on it into the bucket of champions. More of your calls right now. Let's say hello to Kyle Clifton. He's next. What's up, Kyle?
What's going on, Jake? My only problem with the way that was handled with the 2 days in minicamp in June is that Rodgers should have gotten in front of it rather than Salah. He let Salah take the fall for it and answer the questions to the media when he shouldn't have had to do that.
I thought Salah handled it poorly, too. I think he could have just said, hey, Aaron expressed us he had something. We've known about this for a while. He's been at everything else, so we just want to give you guys a heads up, but we've known about this. Like the way he was like, we have 2 unexcused absences, and they just like sprung on Rodgers. It made it a firestorm for no reason.
Yeah, I mean, Rodgers could have totally diffused that by getting in front of it, but it wasn't the reason the season went down the drain. I had season tickets myself for about 10 years up until they opened the new stadium. A friend of mine had season tickets, and I would go once a month. My wife's family has had them, so she hardly ever goes now that we have young kids. But now that, it's CYO stuff is over, like youth sports, we're going to go and, have them put their toe in the water for the NFL and see how it goes. But I need a recommendation from the chat about a college game to go to for this coming off season, because I took the temperature of my friends when we were out in Arizona. That I don't know if the appetite's going to be there for another JOA game next year, the way things are going.
Well, you got to come to the Asmaniac away game next year, Kyle.
Yeah, maybe I will. Hopefully we'll have a good schedule. The other thing I wanted to say is, I think that the defensive line is not going to be rebuilt overnight. It might not be a strength of the team next year. But now that I've decided that we're not going to a Jet away game next year, they're probably going to be decent. Let's be honest. We've only lost a couple of games here. Most of the games we've lost this year have been less than the score. They've all been nail biters. It's the coaching. It's the coaching. It's the coaching. The place kicking, things that can be easily rectified in the offseason. And I wouldn't be surprised if we're competing for a playoff spot next year, quarterback problem resolved or not. And what's your thoughts on that?
I think it depends who the coach is. You got to like if they get the coaching hire right, they could be competitive next year. If they don't, it's going to be another 7 wins or less season.
All right, chat. Give me college ideas. I need them in the chat.
College Station's fun. I haven't been to a ton of college environments. I was supposed to go to Baton Rouge my last year in Houston, and it didn't work out. I know
the only one I've ever been to was I was at Georgia, Alabama, between the hedges, and that was like almost 30 years ago now. So it was a really intense environment.
Yeah, I mean Georgia would be fun. Gainesville would probably be sick too.
Yep. Thanks, Jake.
Notre Dame, yeah, check it out, Kyle. Oregon, I'm sure would be fun too, but it's far away. That's a far trip. NYJ writes in, did Diana look like Margot Robbie? She did have blonde hair, but I would say she did not look like Margot Robbie. Wonderful lady, though, as Charles Gorman would say. Mr. Reality writes in, Jake, you want meaningless wins to remove the stench. I'm indifferent whether they win or lose at this point. If they lose, great. Higher draft pick. If they win, I'm not going to be that upset. It is what it is. We have no control over it. I think they're winning one more game. I think they're going to win this week, and then they'll lose the last 3. Mr. Reality writes in, or do you want meaningful losses for... I just answered your question. I don't know why you needed it in 2 super chats, but thanks for supporting the fund. I'll take the wins, but I won't be that upset if they lose. It's kind of how I look at it. Remind you to join the Patreon if you haven't already. Patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. Shout out to Glenn Krima, who's our most recent Patreon member. Join the Patreon, people. Holiday season. If you sign up for the year, you save 15%. Get in the Discord. Discounts on all merch items. And a whole lot more. Tyrone Garcia with a super chat. Working on a curse. Jake got the cigar and sage ready to go for 2025. It worked for the New Orleans Saints back in their bad days. Hey, I'll try anything, Tyrone. You want to do the cigar and sage method? Whatever you think you got to do to try and get this stench, curse, or whatever you want to call it, away from the Jets. Whatever you want to do. Scott Foster, who cares about the Rodgers trip blown way out of proportion? Yeah, I mean, it has zero impact on the season. They started 2-1 this year. Let's not forget that. Brandon says you can't go into 2025 with Jordan Travis as your only future quarterback. That would be a joke. I agree. I think they're going to draft someone. I think that's that's what they need to do. Open phone lines if anyone wants in on the conversation. Last chance to get in. We'll be back today at 4 Eastern. Boy Green's coming on a day early. I have my cousin's wedding tomorrow night, so there's only going to be one show tomorrow. We'll have a show in the morning with Nick Faria, and we will not have an afternoon stream. We will have a Saturday show, though. So you're still getting the usual amount of shows this week. It's just going to be one less during the weekday and an extra one on the weekend. No days off around here, baby.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Holiday season. We need more memberships for the Sauce military-themed jersey giveaway, and second place will be the Joe Namath picture. So 2 items coming up. Let's keep it rolling, baby. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Ralphie says, Jake's such a gentleman, calling her wonderful lady. By the way, see you at the wedding. Yes, Ralphie knows my cousin and my family. So I will see Ralphie at the great Cachopo wedding. I could say it. Can't wait. See you there, Ralphie. It'll be fun. We'll commiserate about the Jets together, I'm sure. Mike D's nuts in the house. What's up, Mike? The bozo for going at BMAC yesterday was pathetic. Grown men yelling and acting like they're a celebrity here. Clown stuff. I agree. It was a clown show yesterday, Mike D's nuts. I'm Team BMAC all the way. I agree. More of your calls right now. Let's say hello to Indomable. What's up, Indomable?
Jake, man, long time no see. How you been, man?
Good. You know, other than the Jets, I'm hanging in.
Yeah, I haven't called in a while, but I listen to the show every day. Jake, I was talking to a couple of my cousins. They are Jets fans as well the other day, and I was thinking of Jordan Travis. I mean, I don't know if you follow college football, but a couple of years ago, he was supposed to be a top 10 pick. I mean, because of the talent, the way he was performing at FSU. So would it be delusional or too crazy to see what we have in Jordan Travis instead of just jumping on the first quarterback that we see next year? Because
where did you get wait, Indomitable, where did you get that he was supposed to be a top 10 pick? That's not true.
I mean, he was playing well. I mean, he was even a candidate, so he was playing that well.
Uh-oh, we got the shaky internet here for Indomitable. Jordan Travis was never going to be a first-round pick. At best, he was probably going to be a third-round pick if he didn't get hurt.
But based on his on the talent that he has and what he showcased at FSU, don't you think it would be like a good idea to see what we have in him instead of just like picking? Because this quarterback class next year, I don't think it's going to be that strong. So because in my and why don't
Indomitable internet brutal. Sorry, man. The quarterback class, I feel like every year, it's not that good. Like, you got to keep drafting guys till you hit on someone. You never know. The 2021 quarterback class was supposed to be great. They all suck. Trevor Lawrence sucks. Zach Wilson sucks. Trey Lance sucks. Mac Jones sucks. Justin Fields is But I don't think he's great. Like, he's not a franchise quarterback. Maybe he's a bridge quarterback for someone. Maybe the Jets next year. You never know, man. Jordan Travis was never going to be a first-round pick, though. Let's stop with that. I think you let Jordan Travis compete with someone else you draft and a veteran. I think that's possible. But we gotta take that into account. Kyle Clifton with a super chat. Just saw the Favre statement of Mark Gastineau. Very gracious. Yeah, Favre handled that well. I agree. Hopefully there's a groundswell movement to try and get Mark Gastineau voted into the Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, we have some real conflict on the show. We might need Mike D's Nuts to call in. Mike D's Nuts refers to yesterday's events on the show as the Bozo 4, referring to Alan, JJ, and Gary as the Bozo 4 after they went after BMAC. Who's the fourth person, though? I believe it's the Bozo 3. Am I missing a... Oh, Dave Briga. You're right. The Bozo 4. Now, JJ has responded to Mike D's nuts. Mike D. Nuts. How we act like celebrity on a YouTube show. You love BMAC who talk crap about the Jet fans. Laugh my effing ass off. That's who you're defending? A Packers fan? Ladies and gentlemen, we have something brewing between JJ, a member of the Bozo 4, and Mike D's Nuts. Gentlemen, there's only one way to decide who's the winner. JJ writes in, Mike D, you're the bozo grown man with a childish name. Grow up. Watch it, JJ. You're crossing the line if you go after the great Mike D's nuts. All right?
Is this Mike D's nuts?
Be careful.
These nuts.
If JJ or Mike D's nuts would like to call in, let's settle it like real ass maniacs on this show. In the meantime, let's say hello to our good friend Paul, who's next on the Gus Buster Umbrella Hotline. Paul, what's up, man?
How you been?
I'm hanging in, Paul. I missed your calls. Where you been?
Yeah, I've quit drinking, so
really
been doing a lot. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of that. It's been 5 weeks.
Congrats, man. That's awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, on top of work being really crazy, so I just bad timing. Keep missing the shows live and haven't been able to log on, but still watching, even though the Jets suck. You know what you're gonna do. And just wanted to really say hi because I haven't been able to jump on in a while, but I do want to cut a little bit of slack for Brick because he really didn't get put in that great of a position to really judge. I mean, he got thrown right in, then a new offensive coordinator, and our D, we lost some really good players that we shouldn't have let go and had a lot of injuries. So I'm not saying I feel he was great, but I don't feel he got a fair shot.
Look, I'm not killing Obrick for the season being. I thought that answer yesterday with Reddick was a joke. Like, I think he could be criticized for that.
Oh, I agree. And, again, it's a learning curve, right? Like any other job and position. But I guess I'll leave it with this. I got a quick question. Do you think that Joe Douglas will get a GM job in the near future? And do you think Saleh will get another shot at coaching?
So Saleh will be a defensive coordinator in 5 minutes.
Like head coach.
I don't think he'll ever be a head coach again. I think it's unlikely. I think Bowles only got another opportunity because of, Arians stepping down and Bowles happened to be there. I think it was like, I don't think any team was going to hire Todd Bowles other than Tampa because of his relationship with Bruce Arians. So like, I don't see it. And Douglas will be in a front office in a high role because he's a pretty good talent evaluator. Just he won't be a GM again with that record. No way.
All right. We'll see in the future, but I think he will, but we'll see. Great, great catching up with you. Hey, and I'll get out for some events still. Those non-alcoholic beers are damn good, especially the Peroni Zero.
I love it. Paul, you're the man. You don't have to worry about any events, though. Unfortunately, the Jets sucking has hurt my bottom line in more ways than you can imagine. No more watch parties, no more tailgates. It's just, why bother? Sucks. If the Jets were good, we'd be doing watch parties for every away game at T-Squared. But after the Steelers game, actually, no, after the Patriots game when they were 2-6, it didn't make sense to keep doing them. I'll never forget week 1. We had 450 as maniacs at the first one. And then the last one, we still had a pretty good crowd considering the team sucked. I think there was like 65 people at the last one, but what could have been, man? What could have been? Ladies and gentlemen, right now on the Gus Buster hotline is a member of what Mike D's Nuts is calling the Bozo 4.
Warning! Warning! Allen alert! Shit's about to get ugly, folks. Warning! Allen alert! Hide the children!
Hello, Bozo.
Hello, Jacob. Go Hawks, by the way. A couple of things.
What a disgrace. Yes.
That was beautiful last night, first of all. Good luck with sobriety, Paul. That's a great story. Also, tell your mod, stop blocking me from the chat. I said nothing, and I got blocked 50 times. I don't know if it was you or if it was your little bitch Gator. One of you guys, okay?
It could also not be Gator either. I don't know if you know this, but I have many mods now. We have the whole
Oh
committee.
my God. I've said nothing and I got blocked for just saying hello. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
God
but
bless.
no one likes you. That's why.
I don't think that's true, but I appreciate that. And as far as Mike D's nuts concerned, other than donating memberships, that guy has never contributed one original thought in his mind. Okay, so please, he's as useless as BMAC. Okay, thank you very much.
I vehemently disagree.
And BMAC is useless. So Mike D's nuts is pretty much in the same category. Okay.
I completely disagree with both those takes.
Okay, so you know what? My take is right. As I said, Salah was a bum, Joe D was a bum, and the Hawks won last night. So Mike D's nuts, kiss my ass. Goodbye.
Ladies and gentlemen, Alan, an esteemed member of the Bozo 4. Hit the clown music. Georgie writes in with a super chat. I like you, Alan. See, Alan, you had at least one person who likes you. Scott Foster writes in. Alan, act like a grown-up. No need to attack people. Rich, Alan coming in hot. Rich is one of my mods. Jets Johnny, what a douche. Bored Fat, gotta love Alan. I'll tell you what. Alan does split the chat usually. Mike D's nuts, if you'd like to respond, the floor is yours. You'll cut the line immediately. Speaking of which, there is currently no line right now. So I'm 90 minutes in. I will end the show unless we get some more calls here. We'll be back at 4 p.m. today. Adam is too cool with a merch idea. Bobby Snow Globe. I looked into it, but getting custom snow globes made is a lot harder than I thought. So I'm still figuring that out, Adam. But it has been discussed. Speaking of which, I want everyone to go subscribe right now to the Nick Shine program. I forgot I agreed. One of the stipulations of playing this.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Was for people to subscribe to the Nick Shine channel, which I'm going to put the link in right now for people to do it. So if you like the Bobby Snow Globe video, give Nick Shine, a fellow Jet content creator, good guy, family man. Give him a subscribe right now. All right? You're welcome, Nick. I'm a man of my word. I just forgot to do it yesterday. Here's the link to his channel if you're watching live or after the fact. Check out the live chat. There you go. All right, open phone lines. If anyone wants in. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Quick shout out to one of our awesome sponsors, Custom Bourbon Tours. Folks, CustomBourbonTours.com. Book your vacation. If you're a Jet fan, you deserve a vacation for having to put up with this bullshit this year. Let's call it for what it is. CustomBourbonTours.com. They offer luxury transportation to all the stops on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. You pick the distilleries you want to visit online, and Custom Bourbon Tours will line up your distillery tickets and provide you with world-class safe transportation. Choose from SUVs, sprinters, limo sprinters, buses, Charles Gorman's Uber. Book an unforgettable experience. Less than 5 minutes online. CustomBourbonTours.com. JJ writes in, Mike won't respond. He corny. Calls real Jet fans out for a Packer. Tommy writes in, Jake, thoughts on Sam Darnold? I mean, look, if he's interested in coming back, I'd explore it. I don't think he wants to be back with the Jets. I don't see it. If they hired Brian Flores, though, and he brought McCown with him as the OC, then it would be interesting. I don't see it happening. I feel like there's just too much that would have to happen to even entertain that. Is it the worst idea in the world? No. Sam is a good quarterback. He's 27. I don't see it, though. JJ calling out Gator now. Gator, a cornball, too. I met Gator in person. Seemed like a nice guy. But he only ever has negative stuff to say about me. Cornball, LOL. Man, so much for the holiday season. Adam is too cool says, Jake, how are we feeling about the right side O-line? Feels like a draft need. Yeah, look, I think I would bring Morgan Moses back on a 1-year deal and then look to draft his replacement on day 2 or day 3. The good teams all don't have first-round picks at every position on the O-line. You have to be able to identify guys in the draft and develop them. Look at the starting tackles for the Chiefs. They're not first-round guys. Some of the best teams in the league don't have first-round guys at every position. But I'd bring Morgan Moses back. I think he's good. He's obviously playing through injuries, but he's still been effective. Bring him back on a 1-year deal. He's making $6 million this year. Ladies and gentlemen, we head back to the busy phones right now.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
I got a good idea, Jake, for that. You can't do the snow globe, right? But would you take a picture of that like you did for me on the politics I didn't want to do? Do that picture on the t-shirt.
You think the Bobby Snow Globe t-shirt would sell?
Yeah. Don't you?
I don't know. I don't know if that would move the needle.
Okay, why do you want a snow globe?
I'll ask the chat. Would people buy a Bobby Midnight Snow Globe t-shirt? I don't know. I think people would rather just have a snow globe.
Yeah. Oh, no, I didn't know. Okay, I didn't know.
I'm just asking. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'll do whatever the Asmaniacs want.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But no, B-Mac
Scott Foster says, Bobby, you need a bra endorsement or maybe a bro.
I already said that on Nick's show. Thank you. Yep, I did. Scott Foster. I said that. Remember, Nick? Jake? Remember on the next show I said I needed a bra?
25 says, might have to censor the tits if I'm going to wear it in public.
I know, right? All right, forget my suggestion. I thought that was a good one. Okay, yeah, no, that's fine. All right.
Tommy says, Bobby shirtless angel to top the tree. People want a Bobby Midnight Christmas ornament.
I don't know.
Where's your Christmas tree, Bob? You don't have one?
No, I have it at my parents' house.
No. How's your mom doing?
Oh, she's still in the hospital.
Tell her I say to get better soon, all right?
Yeah, she fell yesterday, so they needed to give her. She was supposed to get surgery in January. So.
We're all thinking about her, all right? I hope she gets better soon.
Okay, thank you.
You got
I'll call in like after the second show, but after somebody leaves, okay?
You got it.
I'm not
We
gonna...
wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. Open phone lines. Last chance to get in before this show ends. Posting the Gusbuster hotline link again. Gusbuster.com. Get yourself an umbrella. 20% off. Code Jake. I used my Gusbuster yesterday. Walking in New York City. It was raining. Admiral Mighty Buffoon says, I'd buy a bag of Bobby Midnight toilet paper. That's not bad. Not a bad idea. I welcome that. J-Quest says, I like the 4 bozos, but Mike D is right. Interesting take from J-Quest. The 4 bozos. I think that's a hilarious name. JJ says, where's Charles? I don't know. Charles was on the Nick Shine show last night, but the only time I've heard from Charles in the last month was when Nick Shine was with Charles and they called into the show together. I need some more Gorman. I'm as big of a Charles fan as anyone.
Excuse me.
I mean, Charles is electric.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. I burped.
He's one of the greats. JJ responding to J Quest. J Quest, what's Mike D's nuts right about? Ladies and gentlemen, more of your calls right now. Let's say hello to John LG. What's up, John?
Hey, Jake, how you doing?
I'm good, John. How are you?
Have a little trouble getting the camera back over here. All right. Are you hearing double on my side?
I hear you, but I can tell you're very delayed.
Oh, okay. Give me a second. Come back to me. I'll turn the TV off.
Ladies and gentlemen, John LG. The delay of all delays. Last chance to get in. Tom Ace writes in, I need me some more Charles Scott Lane Cheats fans. Scott hasn't called in a while. And by the way, we did make the announcement for the tournament. I'll remind people a couple times over the next couple months here before we get to March. To be eligible for Asmaniac Madness, you had to have called into the show at least one time over the last 3 months. December, January, February, March. Ladies and gentlemen, let's see if we can hear John better this time. Hello, John. John? How's the tailgate going? John? Hello, John? Mr. LG? John? Man, the signal at One Jets Drive just not working well today. John? John?
Hello, can you hear me, Jake?
Hey, John.
Hi. Jake, can you hear me?
Yes. Thanks for the time, John. Now that's a call right there. All right. That might be a sign to end this show. Thank you all to everyone who watched. We're back at 4 today. We got a lot to address, a lot to discuss. Boy Green's coming on the show. And look, when Boy Green comes on the show, you never know where the conversation could go.
So we're going to get into all of it here. Again, my name is Paul Eston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. We come 2 hours after every final whistle here for the post-game show. And I'm going to be honest. The only good thing that happened to me late tonight, early this morning, was making sweet, passionate love to my fiance, which I did after the article was written and that kind of stuff. That's the only good thing that happened. Not great. Terrible.
No. Not great. Not a great season as well. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you donated memberships, we'll add your name to the list for the raffle. Super Chat's included in that as well. Thank you all. Oh, hold on. We got to update the beef between Mike D's Nuts and JJ. Mike D's Nuts says, I don't do the calling in and arguing and stuff. Then I'd just be a bozo like you guys. I also never defended BMAC. Just said your behavior was lame. JJ responds in all caps. What are you, Bobby Midnight, JJ? Mike, why you never called BMAC out when he was bleeping on Jet fans? Or why he used to randomly attack me, Alan, and Gary, but when we confront him, we wrong. Mike D's Nuts responds, I just don't devolve myself into that. Drama. Beef. Plenty of it. Ladies and gentlemen, what a show it's been. Thanks for watching. We're back later today. I end today's show with a classic matchup of Lane Kerner versus Charles Gorman. Enjoy. Go Jets. I think in classic Charles Gorman fashion, I saw a comment from Charles that said, who is Knoble, as we played a full video explaining exactly who Knoble is. So, Charles, I go to you next. Do you still not know who Knoble is?
I think Lane Train's an idiot. I don't think he knows what he's talking about.
What do you mean he's an idiot?
He's making stuff up. Who's Knoble? I looked him up on the internet and he's not there.
He is. He went to college.
Guys, stop it. Seriously, I know the bullshit coming out of your mouth. It's bullshit.
Charles, I don't like your tone.
Here,
Charles.
how do you spell Knoble?
Charles, I don't need to dignify your nonsense. See you later. Get out of here. How do you spell Knoble? Doesn't matter how to spell Knoble. All that matters is he's one of the great prospects we've ever seen.
On the 2022 draft pick, the pick goes to Knoble out of college.
More of your calls right now. Let's go to Jake Klein. What's up, Jake?
Well, actually, first off, for 1 second, who's Knoble?
No, he's a phenomenal prospect for the New York Jets.
I tried Googling it. It said like amusement park things. I was like, I don't know.
No, he played at college.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'll Google it another time, but
see you later. Jake, thanks for the time. Charles writes in, enough with the chicken soup talk. I'm pissed because of the stupidity this show has succumbed to. Hello, Charles.
Enough with the stupidity. I understand this Lane Train guy may be a nice guy, but does he even know what he's talking about? I've been looking this Kenobi guy nonstop. Here, I'll share my screen with you. I know you're laughing, Jake.
Yeah, I'm laughing.
Knoble.
Type in Knoble out of college. It comes right up. It's like the first search. Type it in.
I am out of college. There's no such thing as him.
You believe everything you see on the internet? You're telling me your Google is accurate right now?
Yes, it is accurate.
How is it possible, Charles, if Knoble's not real, that Gator was able to put together an entire draft profile?
Knoble, FP football player from college. He is 5'7", 109.8 LBS, prospect grade 0.0, production score 69, and an athletic score of 007. He's very good, gets flag penalties, but he's very, very good, and I'm very good at this, taking football players.
You're defending Lane Train. That's what you're doing.
He played for the Rhinos. You just saw it.
Jake, if you want to lose a subscriber, stop right now.
Charles, I will take Lane Train over anybody. So if you're going to unsubscribe to my channel over Lane Train, then you know what? You got to do what you got to do.
Stop defending Lane Train.
Charles.
The guy doesn't know what he's talking about, Jake. How about stop lying to yourself, stop lying to these people, and actually say the truth? I'm on your Discord, and one guy called Frankie Castle agrees with me.
Charles, I'll just keep playing Lane Train Sounders if you keep slandering the man.
I'm not slandering the man. I'm telling him. But you know what? I'm not in the mood right now. Goodbye.
Charles, thank you for the time. Well, people, are you Team Lane or Team Charles? I'm glad this guy called in because he was slandered earlier, and I will not stand for this.
Hi, how are you? Bruce Hall. That's good.
The Lane Train. What's up, Lane Kerner?
How are you? Great. The 2 for this draft coming up, who do you take going into the 10th round for the draft? Do you take Brian, or do you want to take there's a lot of different players. Who do you think?
Who's Brian?
Yeah, the guy that they he drafted. Brian, what's his last name? Brian, you know?
What's Brian's last name? Do you know?
I forgot. There's a lot of other ideas. So who do you see going to the Jets in the 10th round, in the first round?
I really want them to take Knoble, and you brought him up a couple times.
Yeah, I know. But what happens if they don't get him? Then what do you do? Do you maybe go after somebody else? I don't think we need anybody else. I mean, I think that, you're going to work around the whole team going into next year.
Great point. Lane, thank you for the call. I hope you had a good Sunday.
You too. Hi. Sorry, everybody. See you next call when we talk about sports again.
Charles's head is spinning after that call. Chugga, 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 choo, choo.